Well, just last week, we chatted with a Trump campaign that had nothing but harsh criticism for the presumptive Democratic nominee for president, one of those being his lack of appearances, even if virtually, and his often seemingly incoherent delivery when he does. Yet, polls have been strongly in his favor, and he does have quite a few supporters here in the Palmetto State. Joining us with more on this race back to the White House is Senator Marlon Kimpson and spokesman for Vice President Joe Biden's campaign. I want to thank you so much for joining us, and it's good to see you again.
It's so good to be with you.
All right, so their words, not mine. What is your response to what they have to say about his appearances, and when he does, that his thoughts aren't as clear as they would have expected them to be?
Well, I think we'll leave it up to the American people to judge that. I think, as you've noted, the Vice President, Joe Biden, is leading in the national polls and all the swing state polls. So whatever he is doing seems to be working. What we have here in the White House and this administration is a failure to communicate the seriousness of this COVID pandemic. And that is resulting in millions, over 50 million Americans filing claims for unemployment. In the state of South Carolina, we are approaching 750,000 people who are unemployed. Those are big numbers. And that goes to the heart of the incompetence of the Donald Trump administration. There are not many people that can stay consistently involved with this man's cabinet. He has had a door of exodus by almost all of his cabinet secretaries. But beyond that, the people wanting to leave his administration and jump off this train wreck. The level of competence strikes at the core of the issue. He has a number of unqualified people in positions that, quite frankly, need experience. And that's why you're seeing this train wreck of administration, this haphazard approach to this national pandemic, and the underappreciation of the reason why we have a cabinet structure in the first place. Simply put, he does not listen even to his own incompetent people.
Build back better. Build back better. That's Biden's message at this point. So how does he plan on building back better? What does that mean exactly?
When Barack Obama and Vice President Biden took over the economy, we were coming out of a recession, and they built it up.
Took a long time.
Trump inherited this economy.
Took a long time.
At 50 million people who are jobless. We are at an unprecedented number of businesses who've gone bankrupt. Our schools,
due to COVID-19, or are we talking currently or over the last 4 years?
Since March, the coronavirus.
But that's affected the entire globe.
But it is on the president's watch. As you mentioned, you have to, the president is the president and has to inherit the good and the bad. And right now, we are in an unprecedented time of miserable failure under his leadership. And so when we talk about building back what we had, we're really talking about building back the economy of the Obama-Biden administration.
What is your response to Joe Biden's idea of wanting to defund the police? I think that has a lot of people very upset and not confident in an administration that would support defunding police.
Well, first of all, your premise is incorrect. Joe Biden does not support defunding the police. He's been very adamant about that and very clear. Now, the issue is we have to recognize that we have some bad cops. I think the majority of cops, and Vice President Biden has said that, are good people. But we have to recognize that we have some bad apples, and we have to make sure that there's a system when you call a police officer, and not just for African Americans, but for all people, that you expect someone who's competent, someone who's unbiased to show up on the crime scene. This is a very, very important, fundamental public service jobs. And what the vice president has been clear on, there are a lot of inequities and racism and discrimination in the system. And we must correct the system so that we ensure that law enforcement works for everybody. And in fact, I think if you read his plan, we may end up providing more funding, not defunding, but more funding, such that we are able to hire competent people, because around the country at this point in time, there are minimum requirements, and you are not selecting the kind of caliber of officers, and many of them goodwill, but we want to sort of raise the bar, and that might require more funding.
Well, Senator, I think we're going to have to leave it there because we've run out of time, but we're going to be looking forward to the debate, which is scheduled for September. That is when Joe Biden will meet President Trump on the stage, and we will hope to talk to you in the future as well as we get closer to Election Day. I want to thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Look forward to joining you again. Good to see you.
We're back after this.